Hello, I'm delighted to welcome today Jose Bort, the founder of EventsCase, who I've known quite a long time now. Jose founded EventsCase in 2012, and the company provides technology which makes it easy for event organisers to launch and manage events of all sizes. They offer tools for building websites and apps, attendee registration, networking, email marketing, and gamification all through a single platform. At the beginning of COVID-19, EventsCase lost 75% of their sales in 10 weeks, which must have been pretty scary. But they quickly diversified, introducing a host of new features to run virtual events. And they now boast live streaming, hosting content on demand, video networking, and the company is reaching literally tens of thousands of attendees every month and has put itself on course for an impressive 100% year-on-year growth, which I think, given where you were at the start of the pandemic, is just truly amazing. I'm also delighted to say that you are the sponsor of our monthly virtual event awards, so thank you, and it's good to be chatting with you today.
Me too, Claire, me too. It's very nice to see you.
Yeah, it sounds like it's been a real roller coaster. Can you tell us a bit about what it was like at the very beginning when you were losing all that business?
Yes, we were quite lucky because we saw a drop in sales in January already. So in February we made most of the basically the cost cutting, and but we kept all the technical and support team, because we knew that something new was coming, and was the virtual events. So we needed to develop that new product. So just in case that what was going to happen, because nobody knew, we thought, okay, we reduce some costs, mainly in admin and marketing. We invest more on the product and service, and it worked really well.
Did you have enough tech people in your team, or were you taking on people at that time?
On that time, we kept the same thing, because for the whole last year we were recruiting, and the tech team almost doubled in 2019, and we had the plans to grow the team in 2020, but then those few months basically we stopped because of the uncertainty to see how clients were going to behave, and then when we saw that it was clear that the clients needed the virtual platform, then basically we start hiring again. So from May we started hiring again.
And how did you kind of develop the technology? What were the driving factors when you were looking at developing these new features? What kind of things were you thinking about?
So our first goal was to make sure that our clients had all the necessary features and solutions for their events, because to be honest, nobody really knew what was going to happen and how long. And so what we did is basically start having interviews and meetings with all our clients, and to see what they really needed. So at the beginning, more than developing a whole new let's say virtual platform, because we had the basics already with the networking platform that we had. The core was to have those meetings with the clients, find out what were the key needs they had at the very beginning, and start from there.
And what were their biggest needs at the beginning?
So basically have instead of just having because many people were using just Zoom or YouTube, was to have that basic website where they could embed the content, the video content, on a more professional, let's say, environment, rather than just with YouTube or Zoom branding, and more private as well for their attendees, and then have all the live interaction. So one of the first products that we developed in-house was the Q&A and live interaction, because before we were partnering with other company, but suddenly, it was clear that we needed to have our own solution for a big part of our clients.
Interaction and engagement is the one thing which I think certainly at the beginning wasn't there with virtual events. Have you seen that develop over the year?
Yes, a lot. Yes, a lot. I think engagement is the key word now in the industry that everyone is asking how to solve. You know, again, when we started in 2012, we started as a community platform. So actually, we had that private area where attendees could engage and arrange meetings. But you know, it was a different need with a physical event and now with a virtual event. So now virtual, it needed to be all more, you know, in one place and one in a web place, rather than just between the web and the app. So we needed to tweak a bit the technology to make it more, you know, easier to use, basically.
And can you give me some examples of how your clients have been using your technology? I'm thinking particularly on the engagement side. I bet you've got some really cool examples.
Yes. So one of the first challenges were FAMBRA Air Show, which is one of the biggest trade shows in Europe for the aviation industry, and we had almost 20,000 people arranging one-to-one meetings, and that was really, you know, the biggest challenge, to have not only the new product with the virtual platform, but also to allow, you know, all that level of attendees coming. So that was the first priority, to be able to organize very large events. But then we organized really cool events like the IE Business School graduation. They had 10,000 students throughout the day, and they had cooking classes during the day. They had a DJ party to end the graduation ceremony. So we realized that clients could do many things in a virtual platform. The challenge most of the times was the uncertainty of how they could, how people will attend those events, how they will behave, what they are expecting. So yeah, it was really
It's really interesting reading all the entries for the Virtual Event Awards. How many people have built in some kind of social activity, from yoga to cooking? And those things we really didn't see in physical events, but they seem to have gone down well.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you see that level of sort of more informal social interaction continuing?
Yeah, and we saw many clients running a huge variety of different type of events. So the same client organizing an event for 10, 20, 40,000 people, but at the same time organizing 20 smaller events a week for only 20 to 40 people, because it's very different on a virtual event to really engage and connect people. If you have too many people, it's very difficult that they really do a meaningful connection. But when you run those smaller like meetings, virtual meetings, it's easier for people to really connect. So we saw a really big, and then at the between those really large events with thousands of people and the small kind of meetings, then we saw all basically the conferences and summits with few hundreds of people.
And is your technology platform the same for 40,000 people or 20 or 40 people? I mean, tell me about how that works.
Yes, we could say is the same, but the thing is how you use it. And that's where we say that we are more a service company than a software company, because the technology can be the same, but how you implement it and how you use it is the key. And that's where it helped at the very beginning to have those interviews with clients to really know what were their challenges, to understand and really adapt. And that's what we have now realized, that yes, we need to keep working on improving the technology, but the key is service, because even right now we don't know what is going to happen in the next month or two. We see many clients canceling some physical events and then going back to virtual. Some starting now planning for the hybrid, but they are not sure if they will be before the summer or after the summer or even in 2022. So it's more about, let's say, like consulting and to see what are the options to use the same technology.
I can imagine it's the case, as with all technology, or certainly from my point of view, that you're not actually, clients are not necessarily using all the features as much as they possibly could do. I mean, do you find that, or do they know it? Do they know the absolute possibilities which exist with EventsCase, or do they tend to use sort of particular features?
Yes. People, we tend as human beings, we tend to do, what we know and what we feel that we are, under control, and we have under control. So it's normal that usually clients have with, a defined idea of this is how we would like to do it. But it's important now to see that the clients now depend a lot on technology. So it's important that they understand as well that we can help them. But that's part of our job, to get that credibility, and they open up and they listen to us in terms of how they can do it, and they can be a bit adventurous. And but that's the thing, is there is so many different ways, and we are all learning, to be honest.
It's been an amazing year, actually, having gone along pretty much the same format for so many years. We've all just accelerated our learning.
Yes, I was the other day speaking with a so-called expert in virtual events, and she was telling me, really, who tells you is an expert on virtual events is lying. He's lying, because he's completely new, and attendees, are behaving, because at the beginning of the pandemic, people were more, willing to attend, but now people are quite tired, so they are more exclusive on which events they attend, and at the same time, people really want to go out and meet people face to face and party. And so yeah, it's changing. We see that every 3 months, basically, the situation is changing.
You raised £3.8 million at the end of last year, which, I mean, how was that in the middle of a pandemic when most corporates were on their knees to raise money? You must have been feeling pretty bullish about your prospects. How were you accepted by the financiers?
So one thing is, because we raised previous rounds before, we had already pre-existing relationships with many funds and investors. So actually the investment round we raised it just in a month, so it was not that difficult. And also because with the pandemic, technology was at the very center of the industry. Before, sometimes we needed to educate or to sell the benefits of technology, and then now was basically a must. So there was a big shift, probably too fast or too for clients. But at the end of the day, for us, for the markets, was obvious that the technology was needed. And a company that our revenue from January to May almost not disappeared, but really dropped. And then just in a month, in June, we recover all the sales. And so again, it was obvious that we were doing well, and we nailed it.
Your heart rate must have been going up and down.
Yes.
But I mean, it's fantastic testament that you raised that money to keep developing. But for my last count, there were over 300 virtual event platforms in one district or another on the marketplace. It's hard to keep up. How do you see yourself as different from other platforms?
Yes, as I said, technology is just technology. And I think the key is the service, and at least is for us, is to be on the client side and really help them, support them, but also listening and be able to be, flexible with them. And more now in these times where, again, everything is quite changing every month. And yeah, we say that every 6 months we have like a new company, because we are growing and growing, but at the same time the market is changing, and we need to have that that conversation with clients, and it's not that common on tech companies, on what they are called SaaS companies, where usually the time for response or to your clients when they have questions or on the help center is not that quick. And we try to, even to answer in less than 10-15 minutes, even in the help center. And then clients have an account manager, they have their project manager. So I think that is the service and how quickly we can adapt, because the word is care. We really care, because even if you run an event for, like we've done now in Dubai, for over 100,000 people, or you run an event for only like 50 people, but those 50 people are your key clients, is really important. Is really important. So we know how, we have a really big responsibility that the technology, must work, but also it needs to work for the client, as the client, because of depending on the goals they have. So yeah, service and robustness is very important, because one thing that people sometimes forget is that with technology, not all the technology is built the same way, because I'm not a programmer, so then you see two solutions and you don't know, you see the front but you don't see the back. And cybersecurity now is really important. So how is that back end of the software is really important, and sometimes clients don't have that technical expertise to decide. So this is why important to work with the well-established companies, because a startup or a new company can be really cool, but at the same time, now that is everything virtual, and cybersecurity is really important.
That's interesting. Do you see more than companies being aware about cybersecurity? I mean, I feel like with some of the big organizations, and I know you work with some political parties, that must be absolutely key and was in certain sectors, but yeah. I feel in other sectors it's not uppermost in people's mind.
Yeah, that's right. There is a big difference between corporates. So large corporates that we work with, 10 companies, financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, they have those data departments and security departments, and even they do what they are called pen tests to us. So they try to hack their own EventsCase platform. But with what they are PCOs, so conference organizers and exhibitions organizers, they don't. We see a really big difference.
I mean, that's probably a bit worrying, isn't it? It's something which possibly needs to go up the agenda.
Yes. Because sometimes people are looking like just tick the box in terms of the legal, or they ask you, are you GDPR compliant? And you say yes. But sometimes people cannot really, really say, okay, what means yes, really, and really test you. And because sometimes it's very easy just to say yes and tick the box, but then, you need to prove it. And if you are not technical, it's very, well, this more with the legal, no, but with the cybersecurity, if you are not technical and you cannot have a technical conversation, it's difficult really to differentiate if that company has the right measures or not.
Do you see any other trends or features emerging?
Yes, what we are working right now is one is the hybrid. The hybrid, because we have, we started more with the community than physical events. Now during the pandemic, we build the virtual platform. And then what we see is we don't see a scenario where we will be back to physical events, and that's it. We think it's going to be a combination of physical events, more when they are like local, regional, or nationwide for attendees. But companies will leverage those virtual events to build their community and database. But for large international events, probably for some time, almost the only solution will be hybrid. So to have basically the nationwide or European, physical, but then have the rest in virtually. So what we are working is that is really done, but we are improving, because right now the hybrid events that we have attended ourselves, sometimes the organizer has the virtual attendees just like there, like watching, but not engaging them. So what we are working is on gamification and a tool that for the organizer is easier to engage the attendees, because the tools for the attendees are there, but it's really sometimes is what we were saying, to consult and to help the organizer to how to engage two different audiences from the same platform.
It's so interesting. I mean, I think the hybrid model and the different models we're going to see, there's definitely not going to be one size fits all, no. Both from a commercial point of view and a delivery point of view. But I'm sure technology is going to be instrumental in helping companies, event organizers achieve their aims.
Yes.
What about for EventsCase? What are you predicting for your future?
So right now we are seeing growth, and there is a lot of uncertainty again. So that's the reason why what we are focused is on building a super robust, because now we are doing big events, and so the scalability, so we can run events of 100,000 people or even more now with the hybrid events, and but the rest is that having that flexibility, because clients are going to organize huge variety of events. So we need to help them on that. And what we are working a lot as well is in content, like best practices, guides, because we see that also there is lots of new people coming to the industry, new organizers, and it's important that from our side is not just offering that technology, but how to maximize the technology.
Your focus on service and care is really interesting.
Yes. That's the reason why we launched, already the last year, this e-care, EventsCase Care campaign, because it's really on our DNA. At the end of the day, I'm the founder of the company, and I'm not a tech person. I'm more a business, and I know, when sales is everything about caring. It's very easy to sell your company to a client when your main goal is really to serve the client and find the best solution. So that's on our DNA.
It sounds an exciting time, Jose. It's been great to chat with you. Thank you again for your support of our awards, and honestly, I wish you all the best. I'm enjoying following and knowing you and how the company develops. Thank you.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Claire.